I was told I have like 10 to 15 minutes. All right. About programs and stuff that we're working on right now. Okay. Two things I want to share with you, and I apologize. I meant to bring a card to pass out, but I'll email it and you can send it to the group afterwards. We have a new app for your smartphone, Android or Apple phone, and that app is a good way for us to interact with the public and provide information that you otherwise would have to call or maybe hunt for, but is public information. I can't count the number of times I get phone calls from people saying, what happened on 310th Street about 9 o'clock last night? And to be honest with you, I don't know everything that happens either. You know, I'm like, well, I haven't logged into my computer yet either. But every 24 hours, our app has a link put onto it so you can see our calls for service. All of our inmates are listed in there and their charges and their bonds. So when their families want to know how to get somebody out of jail, all of that information is in our app. So they don't have to call and go through all of that. If you wanted to put money on a commissary account or what we call the books in our jail, you can also do that through our app. We also use it a lot for weather. Some people get a little bit annoyed about the weather. I'm sorry. There's some settings on the back end. We've tweaked them a little bit. But if you want to know about a tornado warning or watch, our app is going to tell you. It's great for that kind of stuff. I've had several friends give me a hard time about it because I think the older you get, the more you care about the weather. So my friends are making fun of me for the app and its ability to predict the weather.
Well, especially this last month, it's been wonderful to see where it's tracking, where it's going, because radar, you know, it splits off, so it's great to have that at your hands.
Yeah, and it'll wake you up. I have a little bit of an issue. I guess I probably shouldn't share too much of it, but the back end didn't put the Amber Alert on our app, and that's kind of concerning. So we'll address that with the developer. We can also put in there a lot of times if there's road closures or bad accidents, avoid Interstate 80 at this mile marker. And dispatch has access to put that information in there. We're still kind of getting them used to using it. I know we have a bridge replacement outside of on the west side of Adel. That was put on there. So it's a great way to interact with the community. And if you want to share that with the people that you're dealing with, I think it's a good resource. Another big program that we're working on is our therapy dog, our crisis dog. Yeah. Name the dog contest right now. I was telling AJ earlier, it might have been a little bit of a tactical error on my part, putting that out on Facebook, and the overwhelming response has been great. But if we don't name the dog what they want us to name the dog, I have a feeling we're going to disappoint some people. But we'll get over it.
Therapy with the dog.
Yes, yeah. So this idea started actually last fall. We interacted with Crisis Canines of the Midlands, which is a group out in Colfax area, Baxter, one of those two. It's a husband and wife. She's a veterinarian. He's an EMT firefighter kind of guy, and they have been training dogs and helping out all these fire departments and police departments across the state. Jasper County has two of them. There's all kinds of other departments that have them, and we thought this would be a great idea for our jail. So, little unknown thing, and I've told the jail inspectors, I bring my dog into the jail occasionally. The prisoners love it. You know, we try and treat them like human beings as much as possible, and I'll go in there with my own dog, and they love it. They calm down. There's smiles on their faces. You know, jail sucks. Let's just be honest. It's not a place anybody wants to be. I don't want them there either because it's just more work for us. So we're trying to make it as pleasant as possible for the inmates so that they treat our staff better, which is safer for our staff. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy that wants to lock them up and throw away the key. I don't think that's the answer either. So my dog interacting with the inmates kind of made me think, hey, this could work in a jail setting. A lot of times, all of these tragic events that have happened, they come and respond, and they do great. They're awesome. But the jail is like an everyday crisis, if you think about it. If you go to jail, that's your worst day, right? So the dog makes a lot of sense over there. It also creates a career path for people in the jail. It gives them another collateral duty. Working in a jail is not the most fun thing in the world. You know, you can only aspire to 2 different levels, and then you're not going to transfer out to the road because they're all civilians. They're not deputies. So we created this spot in the jail. Our canine comes in 2 weeks. It's an English cream retriever.
Yes, I have one.
Oh, you do?
Awesome. I was going to ask you if it was a German Shepherd or a Retriever.
No, we didn't. The German Shepherd, we didn't want that appearance.
Yeah.
We have a drug dog who's a German Shepherd.
English creams are awesome.
Right. And I guess they don't shed that bad.
Mine does, but he has long hair.
Okay.
So,
We did like a lot of research into
Yeah.
this. So we're pretty excited. We're trying to find a name for the dog. Our handler has been picked out in the jail. She will start training with the dog almost immediately. Obedience, high level obedience stuff for the first year. I would imagine we'll probably be able to publicly bring the dog out in about 6 months. It just won't be fully certified and fully trained for at least a year or 2, because the puppy, you got to work the puppy out of him a little bit. We're not even sure. I posted a picture. We're not sure which one of those dogs is ours. It's one of them. Whichever one passes the temperament test the best is the one we get. So we don't even know which one it is. So if you have any name ideas, you're welcome to go to Facebook and post a comment on there. We're going to take the top 10 or so and then let our employees vote and decide the name for the dog after that. And I think that it'll be useful for all the other issues going on in the world, the tornado down in Greenfield or the Perry shooting. We had a dispatcher unexpectedly pass away here a month and a half ago, and we had 3 different therapy dogs rotating through our dispatch, and we heard great feedback. It's good for employee wellness as well. You know, who doesn't smile after petting a dog? Generally. There are some people, I guess, who don't, but yeah, this dog will be running around our office all day. I'm kind of excited. So those are the 2 things we're working on right now. You guys have any questions? I don't want to eat up all of the time. I guess that was like 10 minutes right on the money. Any questions about anything else involving the sheriff's office outside of the app and the dog?
What would you say are like some of the top things y'all are called out for these days?
Well, probably driving complaints would be the number one, because everybody has a cell phone and they get mad about the person in front of them or behind them driving poorly. And yeah, they call all the time. If you listen to our,
You go out?
well, if we're close, yeah. Like if you were driving right in front of here and you had a problem, you called our dispatch and said, the car in front of me is weaving all over the road, it cut me off. You know, they would do a broadcast on our radio system and anybody who's close could see or hear it. We also have GPS in our cars and a map, so we can kind of see where officers are, whoever's on our dispatch by us. So yeah, a lot of broadcasts, a lot of, trespassing. Extra watches is a big thing that we do. If you're on vacation or you've had suspicious activity in and around your property, and call us, we'll set up an extra watch on your property and somebody will drive by it throughout their shift. And that's all recorded, so we can tell you, if you put an extra watch on your house and then it got burglarized while the extra watch was in place for like a 2-week period, we could tell you exactly when our deputy was and wasn't there based on the GPS in our cars. So that helps us narrow down the time frame of when something might have occurred. Obviously traffic is a huge part of what we do. A little secret, we have new car cameras and body cameras. The car cameras are LPRs, license plate readers. So they catalog and read every license plate as we drive down the road. And that's awesome, because then it can bounce that license plate and the owner information against our own database to see who's wanted, who's suspended, barred, who's a known violent offender, information that we keep, we can input into that, and then the deputy can be alerted, and he can turn around and say, "Oh, that car's stolen." You
And
know.
your Amber Alerts, it would work the same way.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Those instantly go in. So those, instead of having to run every license plate, it's running them automatically. Plus, let's say your house was burglarized, and we know it's between this hour and this hour. We went back and checked. Our deputy was on the road to the south of where the burglary occurred. We can go back and see all the license plates that his camera recorded, and then figure out backwards if any of those license plates might tie to the burglary that occurred. That's just in our car. A lot of the metro agencies have standalone cameras. If you drive through Waukee, you can see them. They're flock cameras. We're a Motorola, which is a different company, but we have access to each other's databases, so we've basically doubled our power. That's modern policing for you. It replaces law enforcement. We can hire less people because of that.
I have two questions.
Mhm.
My first question is, Infante, are you related to any of the singer Mexican Infante, Pedro Infante?
No.
No relation?
I know who Pedro Infante
Yeah.
is, though, yeah. When you have a last name like that,
Yes.
yeah.
Very famous. It's really nice to meet you
Thank
face to
you.
face.
Nice to meet you as well.
I work here with Abigail, here for the health department as a navigator. One of the questions I had in mind was, maybe you can't answer it, but like, if you're driving or you're out in public intoxicated, you will get pulled over. Why is it that people that, I don't know if it sounds judgmental, but you know that they're using meth or crack or whatever the choice of drug is, the famous backpack on the bike, kind of a gritty look. And I know that sounds very judgmental, but I see it a lot, and 3 o'clock in the morning, my cameras show me when people are riding around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Why is it that they don't get pulled over and tested?
On a bike?
On a bike, walking, going through yards?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but there's a lot of assumptions there. And we have this small constitution we got to dance around. And our ability to stop somebody and investigate has been greatly reduced over the years. Even in my career, the last 24 years. It used to be I could stop you for a traffic violation, issue you a warning or a citation, and then search your car. Now, I can't even ask you permission to search your car because I'm in uniform and it's inherently coercive. Like, you feel like you have to say yes to me because of my position as a law enforcement officer. So that's the drastic range that we have come from. Riding your bike with a backpack is not illegal. And it's not even suspicious according to the courts.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
Even at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Through your yard.
That might be something there. There's trespass, but that doesn't mean I can search their backpack. Our ability to search is greatly reduced. And to some extent, that's a good thing. I mean, this is a free country, and you shouldn't be harassed by the cops if you're not doing anything wrong. The problem is, who knows if you're doing something wrong or not?
Right.
So you have your overzealous cops who, they're working that line. They're trying to get as many bad guys as they can. And then you got your other cops over here who are afraid of getting sued or disciplined for infringing on people's personal rights. It's a balance.
I get that because we have a foundry, and
Yep.
that description I just gave could have been a worker, out of the foundry. But small town, unfortunately, you kind of know what's going on and stuff. And so I just wonder, people, they
Yeah.
can drive. I know of a client that got public intoxication, was at a bar, didn't want to drive, left the car, and walked home, and got pulled over for public intoxication.
Yeah.
Walking in public.
What,
And then so you can.
he didn't just get pulled over, did he?
I mean, not pulled over.
I mean, he didn't just get interacted. A lot of times, there's 2 sides to every story,
Sure,
and the
of course.
truth is always in the middle, in my opinion. Was he being a pain? Was he loud and obnoxious? Was he throwing, whatever?
Yeah.
how did the cops find him in the first place? Was he stumbling when they saw him as they were driving by? Maybe nobody called him in at all. But if he's stumbling, we just can't, I mean, the guy could die. And we saw him stumbling, we got to do something then. And I'll bet you a paycheck that we tried to call everybody we could. And that's Perry, I can't speak for Perry. I know my guys. We don't want to deal with a drunk guy on the sidewalk either. Do you have a girlfriend, a wife, a brother, sister? Somebody come pick you up and take you home. That's what I want to do. It's less paperwork. It's better for you. It's better for me. Like, that's my goal, and that's our goal, generally. So this guy probably had to do something to deserve it. That's my opinion without knowing any facts.
One more question. Anything with the new law with July 1st with the immigration? Do you know anything about, like, are your officers going to be able to pull people over as far as, like, if they have a deportation? Are you guys going to be taking it in? Or?
That's a really good question. No. I'm not going to be enforcing immigration law in Iowa. I don't have the resources for it. I don't have the space for it. And what do we do with the guy if he is? Are you as taxpayers going to pay for him to be sent back to wherever we need to send him? Do you want to pay to keep him in our jail forever? How long while we figure it out? And then we don't have access. In my opinion, immigration is a federal issue, not a state issue. And that would probably get me in trouble with my political party, but they're not the ones dealing with it. They're just up there making the rules and mandating from a bench and letting us handle it down here. I'm not going to mess with it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
What's the average cost per day for an inmate?
I don't know. We charge inmates $55 a day to stay in our jail. And that's below the cost, the actual cost. Because if you take the employee, their benefits, their training, their time, their uniform, the equipment, the jail, the food, the toothbrush, the shampoo, the clothes, the bedding, the Crocs. You know, if you're not socking and crocking, you're not rocking. So we charge inmates $55 a day to stay in our jail, and then we try and collect. Because in my opinion, the taxpayer shouldn't have to pay for your mistake.
So how do you collect?
Only collect after post-conviction. If you're not found guilty, we don't come back.
So how do you collect from them?
We just ask, we can, we've not gotten to that point. It's kind of one of those things, it's like, I'm not gonna send a collection agency after you. At the same time, I might file it with a clerk and then prevent you from being able to register a car or something else. And I'll even work out a deal with you. Some money is better than no money. And I do have there's a bone in my body that does feel sorry for people that are just trying to get out of jail and get their life back together and get a driver's license so they can go to work. And by taking all of their money and not allowing them to do that, creates an issue for them, which then creates issues for me later on down the road, because they're just gonna go back to being whatever they were. And I don't want that either. So it's kind of this fine line. I'll ask you very nicely, you owe us $150. Can you make payments? Yes, I can make $10 payments. Okay. You make 10 payments and you don't make the last 50 bucks? All right, we're good. Move on. But don't tell anybody that.
It's on camera.
Yeah, it's being recorded. Well, you'd be surprised. People are generally good. They owe money and they pay it. A lot of people, we don't have to push. We don't. We can, and we might someday if it gets to be ridiculous. But right now, I don't want to dedicate manpower to it. I don't want that negative impact or image really either. I don't want people thinking we're out there gouging. But $55 is pretty cheap for a hotel stay. Bed and breakfast too. 4 stars on Yelp.
How many beds do you have, and what's the longest stay someone has been in jail, and what they do?
No counter.
We have 157 capacity. I think that's probably more like 135, 140. it gets complicated with classifications. I can't put males with females, we can't take juveniles at all. But also the level of crime you've committed, we got to separate those people. We're not going to put, your OWI in with your convicted murderer, or your rapist in with your money launderer. So 135 is comfortable, maximum comfort. You can be sentenced to the county jail for up to 365 days. So a judge can sentence you to 1 year in county jail, maximum. Anything beyond a year, you have to go to prison. Now, having said that, you can sit in the county jail for as long as it takes for your trial and your case to be worked out. So we've had people sit in jail for over 2 years waiting for their murder trial or their case to be resolved. And it gets even more complicated if we have a guy here who committed a murder here. Let's say he committed a murder in Des Moines. Well, he's sitting in our jail waiting on our murder case, and then he's got to go sit and poke on their murder case, and he's going back and forth for various court hearings, weekly or monthly. We're driving people all over the place. So, yeah, we have people in there for months. But I think the average stay is probably less than 42 hours. I mean, because you take those long time guys with the OWIs and they're out the next morning. So there's an average in there of like 2 days max. I'd say it's probably closer to a day and a half average.
Do you still do fingerprints?
Yep.
For outside, can we come and do?
Yeah, if any of you need fingerprints for your job, or if you need people who need fingerprints, our jail lobby has it. So you don't even have to come through the jail. You just come in that lobby. I think it costs 10 or 15 bucks, and we give you your green sheet right there.
How will the potential court annex thing change your functioning?
Man, you guys are hitting me with the hard ones today.
I mean, that's not.
Do you guys, are you aware of this court annex discussion? AJ is.
What was the question?
She wants to know how the court annex will affect the sheriff's office. So I'll give you a little background. There's discussion about building another courthouse. The courthouse that we are in is beautiful. I think it's a really neat building, but it does not serve in the best interest of the public. It's crowded, it's full. Scheduling is a huge pain. We've had court in other counties because we didn't have the court space to have court hearings here. And that's a pain for the public. If you wanted to sue your neighbor or to get a divorce or whatever, all those sort of court proceedings are way out. They're pushing them way out. Criminal takes priority. So it's not a huge pain for me, but the security in that building is. If you walk into the 300 courtroom on a Thursday or Friday, in the back of the room, you're gonna see 10 or 15 inmates just sitting there with our deputies surrounding them, waiting for each one of them to go through court service. That's not an ideal setup for security. So we would like a more secure facility. We can make this work, but the courts really need more technology. So if they build this, there'll be a bond referendum on the November ballot where the public in Dallas County will vote yay or nay on this $50 million building. I don't know if it'll pass or not. And then if they do pass it, it'll be built right next to our office. So we'll take our inmates from our jail across the parking lot. I think we need a new courthouse. I understand, I don't think people are gonna wanna pay for it. But this county is just growing so rapidly. My office itself, I have one empty office right now. When we moved in, we had 3 or 4. So we're already, our building's 5 years old.
Any other questions?
What are you seeing for new drug trends out there? As a health navigator, I go into homes, so I'm always, I know the basics, but like, is there anything new on the streets you're seeing that I need to be watching for?
Well, I think obviously fentanyl is the big deal right now. You carry Narcan with you, right? Good. Even if you don't ingest it, there are some, if it's really pure, you can get just by touching it. So fentanyl is a danger for us. We are seizing it. Xylazine is a synthetic form of fentanyl. We've had that at our state lab as well, so it is in Iowa. And then vaping, all the all the vape stuff is new and hard to navigate. We're working through that. Those are probably the biggest drug trends that we see.
Piggybacking on that, why doesn't Iowa allow the fentanyl test strips?
They don't.
Drug paraphernalia.
Yeah,
Paraphernalia.
I think that's a mistake. I don't know why.
They, in the state of Iowa, if you are picked up with fentanyl test strips, you will be charged with drug paraphernalia.
Well, let me clarify that a little bit. It's illegal to probably buy them in Iowa and distribute them in Iowa because you kind of like but it's not actually paraphernalia until it has residue by law. So like if you had a pipe, like a big old bong, for marijuana, but you never smoked marijuana in it, that's not drug paraphernalia.
Really?
You can't be charged on our state level for drug paraphernalia unless it has residue. So I think the restriction is probably federally or statewide that you can't sell those things in Iowa, but it's not drug paraphernalia until you use it.
It was interesting, one of my coworkers was at the Pride Fest in Des Moines this weekend, and they were handing them out.
Maybe they brought them in from another state.
And somebody, Brenna Bird, was there,
Yeah.
and somebody asked her about it, and she said that she would not force prosecution on a fentanyl test strip.
Good. I wouldn't. We're not looking for fentanyl test strips.
You got
I
priorities.
yeah. Yeah. Bigger problems than that.
Do you do any kind of training about, like, Christina, my colleague, asked about different kind of street drugs? Do you do any kind of training, like an updated, what's there, what to be looking for as home
Yeah.
visitors that were?
Yeah, we can send a deputy or narcotics detective to talk to any groups if you need to.
Yeah, Chris just would be.
Yeah, we can show you pictures and give you an idea of what to look for if you want. Yep.
I think with things just so much changing, I think it's just important to be more aware so our surroundings.
Yeah, no problem. Just reach out to me. I'm on the email, and I'll set you up with the right person.
I know you said you had to get out of here, so.
You didn't hold up any signs.
know.
I like your signs. You should hold them up. Just
Abigail?
I forgot.
really aggressive.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, guys. I'm sorry I do have to go. Thank you.